couple's jungle adventure. Welcome, brave viewers, to another bone-chilling tale from the dark corners of the supernatural realm. In today's video, we delve into the horrifying story of Joseph and his encounter with the monstrous creature known as Madre. Set amidst the eerie swamps and haunted chambers, Joseph's harrowing journey will test his sanity and force him to confront unimaginable terrors. Let's start. We'd been craving an adventure before starting a family, and the pandemic was just the push we needed. While we were forced to stay at home, we spent a lot of time researching and planning our trip. Finally, we decided on a 3-month journey through the Americas. Being from the east of England, anywhere would have been an exciting adventure for us. Luckily, we were in a position where taking a 3-month sabbatical was feasible. I had inherited a significant sum of money from my wealthy grandparents, and both Joseph and I had stable jobs. It felt like the perfect time for an adventure, a now or never moment. Our first destination was Calgary, followed by Vancouver. From there, we traveled through the western states of the U.S. down to Mexico. By the time we reached Guatemala, we had already been on the road for over a month. Our campsite was nestled in a forest near Mayan ruins, and the setting was breathtaking. On our first night, as I was towel drying my hair after an outdoor shower, Joseph called me with excitement in his voice. "Daddy, come and see this." Curious, I walked over to him and saw a tarantula in the corner of our spacious tent. One of the campsite employees assured us that it was harmless, and even offered to relocate it for us. Although I was hesitant at first, I mustered the courage to briefly hold the delicate creature after Joseph. It was an exhilarating experience, and I felt a world away from home in the best way possible. The next day, we embarked on a hike through a trail known for its diverse wildlife. As luck would have it, while attempting to take a picture, I dropped my phone, and a mischievous monkey snatched it up and climbed high into the trees. "A monkey just took my phone," I exclaimed, laughing at the absurdity of the situation. Joseph jogged over, eager to help. "Where did it go?" "In the trees over there," I pointed. "Don't worry, I won't give up easily," he said, determined. Reluctantly, I followed him into the forest, reminding him to stay on the trail. Howler monkeys chattered in the treetops as we ventured deeper into the unfamiliar terrain. The excitement of the chase kept us going, although I couldn't help but worry about the time and the fact that we were straying from the trail. "Joseph, please call out to me," I pleaded. "Over here," he shouted, relieved. I found my way to him, giving him a tight hug before playfully slapping his arm. "Oh, what was that for?" he protested. I was scared, I admitted, wiping sweat from my brow. Together, we marveled at the sight before us. The mischievous monkey was perched on a branch, holding my phone. "Hey, little one," I spoke softly, extending my hands toward it. "Could you please drop my phone down to me?" Joseph, armed with a stick, laughed. "It doesn't understand human, Daddy. And besides, we're in Guatemala. It's more likely to understand Spanish." I grabbed his wrist, preventing him from throwing the stick. "We shouldn't disturb the local wildlife. Let's be respectful," he reluctantly acquiesced. However, to our surprise, my phone suddenly thudded on the ground a few feet away, undamaged thanks to the soft soil. It was a moment of relief, and we thought we could finally head back to the trail. Little did we know that our adventure was about to take a dark turn. Hours passed as we tried to find our way out of the forest, but to no avail. Panic began to set in as we realized we were disoriented and far from our intended path. The ground beneath our feet grew softer, and the air became heavy and humid. Even the vegetation seemed unfamiliar. Anxiety gnawed at my nerves, and I couldn't help but snivel. Amidst our desperation, a glimmer of hope appeared, a solitary house in a clearing. With a mixture of relief and trepidation, we made our way toward it. However, our sense of security was short-lived. As we approached, there was a sudden rustling in the plants, followed by a deep growl. Startled, we turned to face a large crocodile, its jaws menacingly snapping in our direction. Joseph instinctively pulled me closer to him. "Tajarlas," a woman's voice called out from the house. The crocodile's growls subsided, and it slowly backed away. We hurried toward the moderately sized wooden house, which stood on stilts, slightly elevated from the ground. Waiting on the steps was a woman about the same age as us, with long black hair cascading over her shoulders. She was heavily pregnant. "Ole," Joseph greeted, slightly out of breath. Por favor, estamos perdidos. I speak English, she reassured us. Please, come inside. We exchanged hesitant glances, but followed her into the house. Overwhelmed with gratitude, I couldn't hold back tears. Gracias, I sobbed. Joseph placed a comforting arm around me as the woman took my trembling hands in hers. I have something to help with your anxiety, she said. Please, have a seat. Wiping away tears, we sat at a rustic kitchen table. The woman boiled water on a stove and prepared food, a plate of fruits, bread, spreads, and sliced meat. Eat, she said with a warm smile, returning to the stove. The aromas were delightful, and although we had reservations, our hunger overpowered our caution. I used my fingers to savor the tropical fruits, while Joseph ventured to taste the unidentified meat, comparing its flavor to horseradish. The woman returned with 2 steaming cups of a strongly scented herbal brew. Drink this, it will make you feel better, she assured us. Thanking her, we took hesitant sips. The taste was bitter, making us grimace, but we forced ourselves to drink it, trusting in her wisdom. I'm Danny, and this is my husband, Joseph. I introduced ourselves between sips. I am Lorna, she replied. Curiosity piqued. Joseph inquired about the crocodiles we had encountered. They can be dangerous, she admitted, but we share this land, so we must respect one another. As our conversation continued, we learned that Lorna was expecting her first child. We exchanged congratulations and shared our own desires to start a family. Lorna's reassurance and kind words made us feel at ease. It was as if we had found a sanctuary in the midst of uncertainty. As night approached, we expressed our concerns about returning to our camp in the dark. Lorna insisted that it would be unsafe, urging us to stay the night. Grateful, but hesitant, we agreed, with the intention of leaving the next day. I freshened up, feeling the weight of the day's events. While exploring the house, I discovered a hidden passage behind a bookshelf, a secret door leading to an ancient chamber. Curiosity getting the better of me, I cautiously stepped into the mysterious room. Illuminated by natural light filtering through cracks in the ceiling, the chamber revealed a grand hall reminiscent of an ancient temple. Tall trees grew from the stone floor, and at the center, an idol stood, a depiction of a woman. As the monstrous creature known as Madre emerged from the flames, a sinister smile spread across her face. She approached Joseph, who was bound to the tree, his eyes filled with terror. The sisters continued their chants, their voices growing louder and more frenzied. No, please, Joseph pleaded, his voice desperate. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean any of it. Madre paid no heed to his pleas. With a swift motion, she extended her elongated claws and tore into Joseph's flesh, his agonized screams piercing the air. The crocodiles in the hall became restless, thrashing in the water as if sensing the imminent feast. Tears streamed down my face as I watched in horror, unable to tear my gaze away. The sisters held me firmly, preventing any escape. The chanting reached a crescendo, filling the chamber with an eerie energy. In a final act of brutality, Madre devoured Joseph, tearing him apart with savage ferocity. Blood sprayed across the hall, mixing with the eerie glow of the fire. It was a scene of pure terror and carnage. When the gruesome act was over, Madre turned her attention towards me. Her eyes, cold and merciless, bore into my soul. The sisters released their grip, allowing me to step forward hesitantly. My heart pounded in my chest, my mind filled with a mixture of fear and resignation. As I stood before Madre, she reached out with her clawed hand, tracing my tear-stained cheek. Her touch sent a chill down my spine, a mix of dread and acceptance. I had become a part of this macabre ritual, entangled in the dark secrets of the swamp. The sisters resumed their chanting, their voices echoing through the chamber. I closed my eyes, preparing myself for whatever fate awaited me. A sense of resignation washed over me as I embraced the inevitable. Suddenly, a loud crash resonated through the hall, interrupting the ritual. The ground shook, and the crocodiles thrashed in the water, disturbed by the disturbance. Startled, the sisters halted their chanting, their attention shifting towards the source of the commotion. Through the chaos, a figure emerged, a man with a rugged appearance and determination in his eyes. He rushed into the chamber, his presence commanding. It was a local tribesman, armed with a spear, adorned with feathers and tribal markings. Without hesitation, he launched himself at Madre, spear raised high. The creature snarled and lunged towards him, but the tribesman's reflexes were swift. He plunged the spear deep into Madre's chest, eliciting a bone-chilling howl of pain. The chamber erupted into chaos as the crocodiles thrashed, and the sisters cried out in anguish. The tribesmen fought valiantly, battling against the monstrous creature with unwavering determination. With each strike, he weakened Madre, inching closer to victory. In the midst of the chaos, the tribesman managed to cut the bindings that held me captive. He beckoned for me to follow him, his eyes filled with urgency. I didn't hesitate, running towards him as he led the way through the chamber and out into the swamp. We ran through the thick foliage, the sounds of the battle behind us. The tribesman guided me through the treacherous terrain, his knowledge of the swamp evident as he navigated with ease. My heart raced as we sprinted towards safety, leaving the horrors of the chamber and the sisters behind. After what felt like an eternity, we finally reached the outskirts of the swamp. The tribesman turned to me, his gaze filled with a mix of exhaustion and relief. He spoke in broken English, his voice heavy with accent. "You must go now, far from here," he said, his voice filled with urgency. "The swamp is cursed, and the creatures within hold no mercy. Do not look back, and do not return." I nodded, tears streaming down my face as I expressed my gratitude. Without another word, I turned and ran, my heart heavy with the weight of the horrors I had witnessed. Months later, I found myself back in the comfort of my home in England. The memories of that fateful journey through the Americas and the encounter with Madre haunted my dreams. It was a nightmare that would forever be etched into my mind. I tried to move on, to build a new life, but the scars ran deep. I often wondered about the tribesman who had saved me, the one who had shown me the way out of that hellish chamber. I hoped that he had found peace, that he had defeated the darkness that lurked within the swamp. But deep down, I knew that the curse of the swamp would never truly be defeated. It would forever remain a haunting memory, a reminder of the terrifying forces that exist beyond the realms of our comprehension. And so, as I lay awake at night, unable to escape the nightmares that plagued me, I couldn't help but feel a lingering presence, a presence that whispered of the horrors that still lurked in the depths of the swamp, waiting for their next victim. The end